Discover your inner goddess and live up to your highest value and most abundant potential. Welcome to Grateful Goddesses, a podcast that empowers you to unleash your inner goddess and take the leap of faith to live your best life. Your guide, Pulver, joins her fellow goddesses in soulful conversations about gratitude, personal growth, authentic living, and a bevy of topics affecting women today. Let's start the show with your host, Pulver.
Welcome everyone to Grateful Goddesses, and today's episode we're going to be interviewing Susan King. She is an intuitive counselor and a holistic practitioner who's worked for over 25 years bringing balance to mind, body, and spirit. A unique experience to the health and wellness of the community. She's a genuine and down-to-earth person, and I can attest to that. I've met with Susan in person as well as over the phone virtually, and I've had readings from her and just talked with her about life and intuition and connection and balance and peace. Her work has been recognized globally, earning her multiple celebrity endorsements from people such as Oprah Winfrey and fashion designer Donna Karan. So welcome, Susan, to our episode of Grateful Goddess. Hi, how are you?
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm very well, thank you. And it's very nice to be on your podcast. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm so really honored that you trust in coming today and that you'll share with us your insight and your positivity. So as an intuitive, you use your intuition to help yourself connect with people. And what I'd like to know is, firstly, how has this happened in you that you discovered that you are capable of this? And secondly, does the average person have this in them? And if so, what are some ways that they can use it to help them to, reach out to other people or how they interact with people in their lives?
Well, to me, intuition is knowing without knowing. And we always hear the expression, a woman's intuition. We're famous for it. If I can say to you that intuition, for myself anyway, I found myself very aware as a young child. I would always have things to say about people, even from being 5, 6, 7 upwards. I used to get in a lot of trouble because, I just used to get a lot of trouble because you don't say those things about grown-ups. So you can't say that, you can't say that. So that was something that was. But when I got into my late teens, early 20s, I used to have dreams, and the dreams would happen. And it kind of started from there. And I realized at that age that I could see things slightly differently than the average person could. But it took many years to fine tune it to the way it is now, because it's like any ability. If you play tennis, then your right arm or your left arm, whichever you play tennis with, it gets strong, the muscles get strong. It's exactly the same way when you're using your intuition. You have to get faith in it. You have to get confidence in it. You have to feel as though what you're feeling and sensing is correct. So from the lockdown happening, my feeling is, and people have been taking bets, not me, I've not betting about when we're getting out of this, but I feel if people adhere to the social distancing and don't go crazy and don't go mixing flower powers and all sorts of gatherings everywhere, if they maintain what's going on, I think mid second, third week of July, I feel I'll be able to engage back in life. I want to put my head outside. Initially for myself, it was a process, and I'm still learning, all these years on, I'm still learning. But I do believe everybody has intuition, not just me. We all feel and sense things. Some of us are aware of that, but there's a lot of people that aren't aware. For example, you're walking down the street and you suddenly feel uneasy, and you look around. You don't know why you do that, but you do it. You could have been wandering around your house doing things, and you keep thinking about somebody you went to school with and you haven't seen them, and you keep thinking about them, and then you bump into them, or somebody tells you news about them. People who do martial arts is not just about, I'm not into martial arts, so I don't know if that's why I'm doing those little things. but they have to anticipate their opponent's moves. So, you know, they're stood and they're anticipating. I think there's intuition in that. You hear things about police, you know, police have intuition, or they have instincts, or they have feelings into things. And one way that you can, expand on your own intuition is by little tiny steps, because little steps make big leaps. So first of all, get a little notebook, one of those little tiny things you can put in your pocket. And when you have a feeling about something, write it down. Write it. Because one of the worst things you'll deal with when you're feeling your own intuition is it right? Because you won't necessarily be confident. I had that feeling about such a person or whatever. You may feel, am I right? Because you would tend to do that. Is that right, what I'm saying? I don't know. So if you make a note of it, you can reflect back in time whether that feeling comes to fruition or not. And that's what will build your confidence. You can meet somebody and you can have feelings about them, about their life or what they do. Make a note of it. It's building confidence. You can get a pack of cards. You can ask somebody, or you can spread the cards out. You can put your hand on one and you can focus in your mind, is it red or is it black? You know how you have diamonds and red?
Right, the suits, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you try and look what the color is. I wouldn't try and do the numbers initially because that's quite hard to do the numbers. I just would look at, is it red or is it black? Because it's like training the muscle in your arm, just like when you're a tennis player. That's the whole process of using intuition in that way.
I love how you say taking little steps to giant leaps, because that is actually one of the main themes of the Grateful Goddesses, is that we're all taking little steps, supporting each other towards trying new things and taking great leaps. And when you just said about, let's say, for example, you think about someone and then they appear, that kind of leads into a topic about law of attraction. Which is, you know, we attract the things that we think about or that we feel and then think about. So I just wanted to ask you about law of attraction and your thoughts on that.
Okay, well, scientifically, law of attraction, the scientists will tell you, is a new age belief based on the concept that like for like attracts. So whatever you focus on will manifest for you. So but to me it's the power of being positive. That's what I think. My belief is, and I believe this, if you have a strong belief in something that you feel no matter what that is going to work, that can be the law of attraction. I profess that if people are doing anything in life, whatever they're about to embark on, if they feel that 2000% that's right, I believe that's their inner voice saying that's the law of attraction. But most people don't put that top hat on it. The book The Secret put that top hat on it. I believe there's nothing new. I think everything that we have and we know and that we learn has been there before us, thousands of years before. And to me, law of attraction is having belief, being positive, focusing on, oh, I want to go down that road and it can't happen right now, but I'm going to will that to happen. I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to see myself. So to me, that's the power of positive thinking as well. So I think there's quite a few different top hats you can put on that. Most people think of the law of attraction when they think of romance, I reckon.
Right.
When you meet somebody and you think, oh, I just know there's just that something there. That did happen to me actually when I first met my husband. Yeah, it did. I went to a dinner at the House of Lords in the Lord Cholmondeley suite. I'll never forget it. It was May and it was 6:00 and there was drinks on the terrace overlooking the Thames. And then I didn't see him all night, but it was right at the end of the evening when we stood outside waiting for cabs because it was a summer evening. And he tapped me on the shoulder and I turned round. Now, whether it was a law of attraction, whether it was just because I knew, I felt I was going to marry that person. And I did.
Wow.
But I do think I hadn't been manifesting that. To me, that was just my instinct, my knowing.
Right.
But to me, I don't feel there's a lot of difference between the law of attraction and positivity or being positive. Manifesting what you want in your life. I mean, you could sit and you could say, I'm going to be open to receive. I'm going to be grateful. I'm going to focus on that $1 million. And you could sit there maybe till you're 90 and never get that $1 million. That doesn't mean that you being positive about wanting things in your life isn't going to happen. But I think there's a limit. To me, law of attraction equals being positive about what you want to do in life and what you want to achieve.
Oh my gosh, that's actually going to lead into Alyssa's question. If Alyssa can join us. She has a specific question about law of attraction.
Hi, Alyssa.
Here. Hi, nice to see you. Thanks,
You too.
thanks for letting me ask some questions.
Okay.
So I've been thinking about and hearing what you're saying about law of attraction, and I really believe in trusting your gut and your own intuition, but I'm not sure how I feel about the law of attraction. So playing devil's advocate, I mean, I do think there's some risk in believing in it so dogmatically. So for example, someone who believes in it might not work as hard as they might otherwise. They'll just think that like the universe and the forces of the world around them are going to bring to them, you know, whatever it is they're manifesting in their own heads. And someone who does achieve their goals might not give themselves the credit that they deserve for their own hard work and perseverance, because they believe, or they'll assume, that it was sort of the universe or outside forces at work and not their own individual actions. So I'm a bit confused about this law of attraction. I'm not necessarily sure how I, you know, think people will really sort of trust their own like hard work to get to what it is that they want. And when they do get what they want, not really believing in themselves in having achieved it.
I hear you. As I just said to Karen, the law of attraction and the power of positive thinking, to me, they're the same. I don't see a differential between them. I believe that there are some people, in fact, I know some people who believe that if they believe X, Y, Z, then it's going to happen. They actually believe that. But I have never met anybody in all the years I've been on earth who has said to me they're not going to put effort into anything because they believe that it's their given right anyway, because they're manifesting it mentally. I've never met anybody that thinks I haven't tried to do that, because I think there'll be very few people in this life that you will come across who've achieved things that haven't put a lot of work into it. I consider myself to be a very lucky person. I haven't, I've never employed a PR person, and yet I have had articles in so many national newspapers in many different countries. I think I'm lucky, because how's that happened? But I think, is that the law of attraction? I've never tried to manifest that. I believe that I have been given that on my ability, but I haven't actually manifested that. And I hear what you're saying, but if you look at my analogy of the law of attraction is positive-minded, Dale Carnegie, the very famous Dale Carnegie, used to say, turn a lemon into a lemonade. Well, you're taking something that's very negative and you're turning it into a positive. And I think law of attraction is just a different word for being positive-minded. And I think that there may be some people who believe that, oh, I'm not going to have to do anything because, but I don't, that's not in my psyche, because I've never met anybody like that. Have you ever come across anybody like that?
Not really. I think that, and in my own life, I think what I have achieved was hard work. And I think I'm generally a positive person, but like most people, we have our good days, we have our bad days. Yeah. And I don't think, you know, even some bad periods of time in your life will necessarily prevent you from being able to keep moving forward.
Yes.
But I agree with what you're saying. I think certainly having a positive outlook on life is much more helpful than, you know, believing in some sort of mystical forces that are going to just deliver to you what it is you're seeking.
Yes.
I just wanted to add that Alyssa and I met in a very interesting manner, Susan, because I put out to the universe, I just sort of said, at my age, you know, it's hard to make new friends, but I just wanted to make a new friend. And I just said, you know, I wish I could meet someone that just was open and genuine. And I kept bumping into Alyssa in my neighborhood everywhere, like over a span of a couple of weeks, I kept, and seeing her. And that's how we met and connected. So that is law of attraction, right? But then I made the attempt, if I would have let that go, then that wouldn't have been, that was my intuition that, oh, we can connect, we can meet, maybe she'll enjoy doing this.
Absolutely.
But if I ignored that, that would have been ignoring my intuition and ignoring all the signals I had that were given to me that I was attracting to manifest to my life.
Yes, I would agree with you. I would agree with you. I mean, with meetings like that, but with manifesting things happening, I've got a friend, we always smile about this because she's always manifesting all these things, that she wants. And she believes 200% in that. But to me, that's positive thinking. And that is a positive thing because it makes you feel good. If you feel these things are coming, you have a feel-good factor. And if you have a feel-good factor, you handle life differently, you handle people differently, you handle how you conduct yourself. So it does have its great positives as well.
Thank you so much, Susan, for answering. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. Dina's up next. She also has a question related to law of attraction and positivity.
Okay.
Hi, Susan.
Hi. Oh, you're there.
So we had these questions yesterday and the days before when leading up to this, and I feel like my question, I feel like you've answered it, and in its basics, it was, if you are going out in the world and you're steadfast and concrete in the visions you have for success or happiness, when they don't happen that way, and especially right now with what's happening in our world, and so many people are going bankrupt in their businesses and are closing their doors because of this pandemic, how do you explain that with the laws of attraction? And I guess I've kind of heard you answer that, or I have heard you answer it in the sense of it's the staying positive. It's the mantra of looking for that silver lining, even in terrible, tough times.
Hundreds of years ago, there was a guy called Quimby, if I'm not mistaken, and he had TB, a very bad case of TB, which at one point was not curable, as we all know. And for some reason or other, he decided, this is true, he's decided to go horse riding. When he was horse riding, he found that all his pains and all his aches and his fears and his anxieties had completely disappeared. And he came to the conclusion that the horse riding was the thing to take away this going down this dark path he was with his health. But what had happened is that his mind, he'd taken focus from one thing to another. And it was the focus on the positive, doing something completely different, that had helped him do that. I hear what you're saying with the way the world is today, with all the bankruptcies and everything that's going on. To me, that is, I don't somehow feel that is the law of attraction. I don't feel particularly that people stand and say, I want to be bankrupt, or I want, because with what's happening globally right now, with this pandemic, which is horrendous, such a lot of people are suffering in many, many ways. Now, there'll be people that will tell you, well, that's their karma. There'll be people that will say, well, the world had to be shifted and corrected and made to be different than what it was, and they're just victims of that circumstance. But I don't actually think that is the law of attraction, personally. I mean, these are my own beliefs. I mean, many people would believe different things, but I don't believe people want negative things to happen to them. Having said that, there's positive minded and there's negative minded. And I think if you are very negative, then you don't see any brightness. If you're not in a good mood, for example, if you're not in a good mood and you're not optimistic, you're not bright, you go out and you wouldn't see Alyssa. Like Karen said, she wouldn't have seen Alyssa because her mood would have been down. The law of attraction wouldn't even been in her psyche. She wouldn't have been even thinking that. She might have put that out, but if she was a negative, pessimistic person, that would not be possible. So I still think it goes down to positive mind. Mm-hmm. I don't have the scientific technology mentally to know if collective consciousness brings forth bankruptcy to people. It's not within my psyche. I don't know the answers to those things. Maybe the great yogis or the Dalai Lama can answer that one. When somebody comes to me, they're giving me their emotions, their vulnerabilities, everything they're putting them in here, and that's precious, and I respect that. So I talk to them and I deal with it, but I don't use a pair of 9 boots and kick it. But I will say things, but I won't do it like that. I'll say, there's concern around this situation. Something isn't quite right here. You need to pay attention to this, or you need to look into this more. There was a woman I met in Asia once, and I said to her, oh, your husband needs to have a medical check. He needs to get his heart checked. I met her later in LA. He'd have died if she hadn't gone for a checkup. But if I'd have said, if somebody says to me, oh, you told such and such you were having a heart attack, there's no way I would use that language. Never in a million years. I'd say, I think you need to get some health checks. Maybe your arterial system is a little bit unbalanced, so go and get it checked. That is a way of saying your arterial system is your heart, the whole system.
Right.
It's checking. It's a big difference in somebody saying, oh, you're going to have a, I would never speak like that.
Right.
And then one of the craziest of things that's ever happened to me, and I'll never forget it as long as I live. I remember seeing this lady once, and I remember saying to her, you're going to see a picture of a baby and go, ah, and gasp. And she said, oh my God, is my daughter going to be pregnant? Her daughter was 15. I said, no, what's with your daughter? I said, and nobody's sick or ill. It's not, nothing's wrong with this baby. It's just, now I couldn't see anything else. And I mean, she pushed him. I said, I don't know what it is. I just can see this picture. And you're going, huh? Her husband had been working in Brazil. He came home with a, it was in the days when you had the Polaroids. And he said, this is my baby. I want it to come and live with us. And she said, I went, ah.
Wow.
But I couldn't see anything else. And maybe I wasn't supposed to. How could you deliver that kind of news?
Right.
Maybe
Right.
I wasn't supposed to do that.
Right.
But I'm very careful about what I say. There was a guy I met once, and I didn't feel good about him. And I rang his sister. I said, your brother is not in a good headspace. He needs help. He needs emotional support, because I fear for him. He hung himself. But I couldn't tell her he's going to hang himself. All I could feel was he's in a very dark place. He needs help. He needs emotional support. You need to go to him. You need to spend time with him. You need to get him help. But it's not what you say, it's how you say it. But I think it all boils down to being positive-minded, because I feel the power of positive thinking is God, if you like. When I say God, I mean, you know, our own inner goddesses, really.
Yes, inner goddesses, exactly, and really bringing that out.
Yes, because it's the power of positive thinking. If you are positive about what you're doing and you believe in yourself, then that is the law of attraction, because you are positive, you have belief, and you're not projecting, oh, I'm going to win the lotto, but you may be projecting, I'm going to be successful this month. I'm going to achieve the things I want, whether it's cleaning my house or whatever I'm doing. I'm bringing it into me. I want to do that. I'm positive. I believe I can do that. Little things, simple things, because I believe you achieve things by little steps, not big steps.
I really thought was a really appropriate message for life right now, which is where I sort of ended with her. Like, you know, I think the listeners right now, I think that's something that is important to hear and important to adapt and believe, and, you know, see the silver linings in things that if you can. Again, in these times, I think it's really important to hear and remind our family and our friends and maybe strangers we might see to be positive.
Yes, it is. You have to be positive with what's going on. You have to be, because the power of positive thinking, and I do believe we are what we think. I believe if we feel, if somebody keeps saying to you 5 times in the morning, you don't look very well, Alyssa, and then you walk along, are you okay, Alyssa? By lunchtime, you're thinking, oh, maybe I'm not so good. Because that's what happens.
Right.
Because it's taken away that positiveness. So law of attraction and positivity to me are as one.
Hand in hand.
Yes.
That's kind of scary though, when you have that anxiety. I didn't realize till now, because I remember you told me about when your husband died and you were feeling so weird and awful. And then he went out for a walk, right? And then I think you felt it stronger, and then he
went out and he never came back.
Never came back. He just, yeah. But like when you start feeling those really bad feelings and you don't know exactly what it is, that must be unsettling.
It's terrible. It's like being choked. Feel like being choked. And you get that anxiety in your stomach. I'm sure you've all had anxiety. Get it in the pit of your stomach, and you feel like you can't eat, you can't sleep very well, or if you do go to sleep, you wake at the crack of dawn.
Yeah.
It's very bad getting that.
Rachel has a specific question
Okay.
related to her life. This is Rachel. Hi.
Hi, Susan.
Hi, Rachel.
Thanks so much for being with us this morning. What a treat to
Right.
have you.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I have been working on a project for a while, and I have been like this fear of launching and this fear of moving forward. And I feel like there's this energy block inside of me, and I'm trying to figure out like what's preventing me from moving forward. And is there,
When you say I've been working on a project, you've actually been working on a specific project that you want to launch.
yeah.
And you want to launch it out there to the public.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And it's a new business for you.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It
Okay.
is.
So where did you live before you lived in Chicago?
I grew up in central Illinois,
Mm-hmm.
Normal, Illinois, and then I went to school, I went to college in Ohio, and then I came to Chicago immediately after college.
So you were in Illinois, and was it very farmy country around there? Was lots of greenery and farmland? And between 5 and 12, between those ages of 5 and 12, was there any upheaval in your family? Did anything happen? Was there any great sense of loss? Was there any problems with work in that area or in the family? Anything, whatever, how small?
Well, we moved to Missouri for 2 years for my mother to go to graduate school during that time. So where I lived all my life, we left for 2 years and then came back.
And then you came back. And when your mother did that, was she happy that she'd done that afterwards? Did she feel good?
That's so interesting. It ultimately worked out, but she went to graduate school for her PhD, but never wrote her dissertation. And so there was like that, but she still ultimately was able to become a professor. But
yeah. Oh yes. Well, the reason I've gone down that road with you is because I think the block you have, and I don't think it's a conscious block, it's a subconscious block. I think it parallels all those years ago. And what you've got to tell yourself is, I am not my past. I am not my history. I am not my mother. What my mother did and the path she went down has got nothing to do with me. So if you believe that your business is the right business for you, then go, girl, because the past can't hurt you. There's nothing from your past can hurt you. And when you go to sleep tonight, what you need to say to yourself is that the past is dead. It can't hurt me. I am here right now. I am Rachel. I am strong. I am positive. I'm going to go forward and I'm going to embrace my new business. That's what I would say. That's the subconscious block, I think.
oh my God. And it like weaves right into the power of positive thinking, like everything that we've been saying.
Yes.
Wow.
I know, I got goosebumps.
Me too.
I know.
My job. That's what I do.
I know. And that is just such an amazing example. A little, with Grateful Goddesses, we talk about like wine tasting, like you take a little sip and decide if you like it. And seeing Susan's intuition ability and just how on she is just incredible. I've met with her several times, and I may not understand right away what's going on and what's being said to me, but then down the road, it's like, oh my gosh, that makes sense. And that's just such a nice, thank you for doing that, Susan. That's such a nice example for Rachel.
Yes. Hearkening back to earlier when you were talking about like if there's a sign, like you feel something or you keep thinking about someone or, are there other signs? Because I think that's so fascinating. Like, are there other signs to look for in life that like pay attention when you see that or pay attention when you feel that? Like other examples of that?
It's very interesting because, as I said to Karen in the beginning, there's nothing new. Everything we do has been before. And the inner goddess, to me, is woman's way of becoming more aware of who she is, the soul within, the being. And if you go back to Sanskrit, all those thousands of years ago, when people looked at the inner self and being aware, that getting in touch with that inner goddess, to me, creating basic awareness will allow you to see in a deeper level of things around you. Do you see what I mean? So creating, you see the whole thing of being more aware. For example, I can tell if somebody says to me, if I ask them a question, say I ask them 3 different questions, I can tell by their answer what they feel about what I've asked them. I can interpret from the tone. That's because I'm very aware. The more aware you are, and that's a whole nother subject to go into. I can teach you things how to become more aware. But the more aware you are, the more aware, the more, if you have mind, body, and soul in sync, and they work together, then there's an awareness created. And that awareness can speak to you. That's that voice. So what you need to do is you need to be very aware of everything you're doing. It's mindful, if you like, mindful. I've got an article I did. It took me 10 hours. They pre-seed it all down, but I'll send it to Karen. And it's basically being mindful is all it means is focusing on what is. So you may be in a situation where, I don't know, maybe you're in a room and you're sensing or feeling something and you don't know what it is you're feeling, but you're there in that moment and you're sensing that. You're aware that what you're feeling isn't quite right, or it's good, whatever it be. But in that moment, you're mindful of that feeling. That's you being aware. The more aware you are, the more you see. But being aware is bringing that inner self. It's working on that inner goddess, that inner voice, the inner person, the soul you have within. It's bringing that more in sync with the physical mind and body, if that makes sense.
It's
Thank
beautiful,
you.
really.
Thank you, Rachel. Susan, thank you so much for being here, for sharing with us your wisdom, your intuition, your guidance, your positivity, your gratitude. We are so grateful to you. And I just see the light of your goddess coming out and radiating on us here. And we really appreciate all of that you had to say. And if you'd like to follow Susan, you can reach her. How can our audience contact you?
My website, if they put Susan King Intuitive into Google, they'll find loads of things about me, and they'll find things on my website. So it's Susan King Intuitive.
Great.
Susan King, they won't find anything, they'll find all sorts of
and we'll have the article as well on the website.
I'll send you the article.
Great.
It teaches you how to be aware.
That's wonderful. We'll have the article. And if you'd like to contact Susan, please do, because she's just incredible. And I intuitively felt that the moment that I met you. So my intuition was working that day. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay.
Up next, favorite things. Opening up to happiness and joy.
So Dina, what's your favorite thing? Can you show us yours?
Okay.
Whoops.
Teeny, can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. So this is my daughter's current project. She is doing keychains, and she is on Instagram with keychains for COVID. And her profits are going to Feed America's Response Fund. And she made the keychain for me. It's different than all the other patterns she's been doing for her friends, because she didn't think that I would appreciate those types of patterns, which were, I don't know, butterflies and other things. So mine has stars on it. And I love it because I'm so proud of her for being thoughtful right now and wanting to do something to give back and stay positive. So that is with me, although I'm not driving much, but it's on my keychain, and it reminds me of her and her passion.
Thank you. Rachel?
My favorite thing today is we have a mug theme going, so I'm going to bring one of my favorite mugs. It's a You Are Beautiful mug. And I'm sitting in my office now, and if you came in, you would see You Are Beautiful pictures and stickers all over. You Are Beautiful was started by an artist in Chicago, and there are huge installations on schools, on fences. They all say You Are Beautiful. He's also done installations now around the world, and I always carry "You Are Beautiful" stickers with me. And whenever I have a nice engagement with someone, I hand them a sticker. So it could be anyone. I love to give them to police officers, but when I'm flying, I'll give it to the airline agent. I'll give them to anyone. And I think it's such a nice message. And I keep one always on my phone. I even have it in Hebrew. And I just think it's a nice way to engage people and make everyone feel good, because along with positivity that we've been talking about, we are all beautiful.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Alyssa?
This is not a constant favorite thing, but today is my favorite thing because of what it represents. So this is a graduation cap. Yeah. It's actually from when my son graduated from high school, and we hung on to it because tonight, actually, he graduates from college. You know, it's so interesting that we just had on today of all days, this amazing conversation about positivity, because honestly, my son is the most positive person that I know. He is the ultimate optimist. He has found the silver lining in all of this every day, even though he's graduating virtually, you know, and we will watch him graduate on a computer screen where we thought we'd be in Philadelphia today watching him graduate. So he is one of my favorite things, but I have this cap to remind me of just what a special day this is for him, in our family, and really for the class of 2020, who is really graduating in a very strange and kind of crappy, but also very memorable way. So today, that is my favorite thing.
This is one of my favorite things. These are my children's hands when they were little, and it's a cookie jar, and it's who stole the cookies from the cookie jar, and inside it says, who? Me. And when they were younger, I filled it with cookies, and it was a very prominent piece in our kitchen, but now it's in my office, and I look at it always because it reminds me of a time where I was so happy with my kids. Not that I'm not happy now, of course I am, but they're teenagers and they are in their own lives and doing their own things. But back then they would do handprints on things and make messes and have fun. And it was just a really fun, nice time. And it makes me feel joy whenever I look at that. Susan?
I don't have a specific object that I, feel is over special to me. But what I do have and what I do feel incredibly grateful for is my yard, because I spend a lot of my time traveling, which I love, and I spend a lot of my time seeing people, which I love. But I also love to come back because I find being in nature, whether it's summer, whether it's winter, I feel it's very mentally therapeutic. And I like the simplicity of sitting, having my porridge, watching the squirrels run in the trees. I'm going to show you what I mean. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, it's beautiful.
But the trees there, I sit there and I look at the trees and I ask myself, oh, what story would they tell if they could, So, and you get lots of cows and sheep back there as well. So that gives me my feel-good factor. And that's something that I find very special.
That's beautiful. I thought you were going to say your dog.
Well, he is here under the table, but I can't show you him because he's flat out. But I do love him to pieces. Yes, he's part of.
That's fabulous. Goddesses, let's all thank Susan together. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Unleashed your inner goddess yet? Thanks for joining us today on Grateful Goddesses. We invite you to visit our website, www.gratefulgoddesses.com, to access today's show notes as well as other helpful resources. Don't forget to leave a review. Until next time, stay strong and empowered to be a grateful goddess.